O Diyos aming Ama, ang lahat ng nilalang ay marapat na sumamba sa iyo. Higit sa iyong mga biyaya, sinasamba ka namin dahil ikaw ay ikaw. Lumalapit kami sa iyo, dakilang tagapaglikha, nagsusumamo at humihingi ng kapatawaran. Kami ay nagkulang at nagkasala. Patawarin mo kami sa katigasan ng aming mga puso. Turuan mo kami at dalhin sa inyong kalooban. Tingnan mo kami ng may awa at kahabagan. Hilumin mo po ang aming bayan, ang aming mga mahal sa buhay, kaibigan, kapitbahay, karatig-bayan, ganon din ang aming mga kaaway sa pandemyang kinahaharap namin sa COVID-19. Isama niyo na rin ang mga may sakit sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Panginoon, balutin mo kami ng inyong kaluwalhatian. Itago mo kami sa lilim ng inyong mga pakpak laban sa anumang kapahamakan o wala sa oras na kamatayan. Kristo, ang tinapay ng buhay, alalahanin niyo po ang mga namumuno sa aming bansa, ang mga ilaw at haligi ng bawat tahanan, at mga kawani na nagtatanggol sa aming seguridad at mga frontliners. Batid mo, Panginoon, ang mga dinaraanan at bawat ganap sa aming buhay. Espiritong Banal, aming tanggulan at gabay, imulat ang aming mga mata at ipakita si Jesus ang Panginoon at tagapagligtas, ang nag-iisang katotohanan at tanging daan tungo sa Ama. Wala nang iba. Purihin ka, O aming Diyos. Ang presensya mo ay tunay na biyaya ng aming buhay. Ito ang aming samot panalangin sa pangalan ni Jesus, Kordero ng Diyos na nag-aalis ng kasalanan ng mundo. Amen.
Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. Samahan na natin si Rachele Bonus at Ral Santos dito sa KPI, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio Worldwide. Ano na nga ba ang nangyayari sa Pinas? May pagbabago ba? Umuunlad ba tayo? Kausapin natin ang iba't ibang namumuno sa mga lokal na pamahalaan at national agencies na sumusuporta sa mga proyekto para sa kaunlaran. Libutin natin ang iba't ibang lugar sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao para malaman ang mga pagbabago at mga bagong destinasyon. Kilalanin kung sino-sino ang mga nasa LGU. Ano ba ang impact ng LGU sa araw-araw nating pamumuhay? Learn more about your city dito sa KPI, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo. KPI, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo. Samahan si Rachele Bonus at Ral Santos tuwing Sabado, 1:00 ng hapon, Philippine Time. KPI, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo. KPI, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo. Dito lang yan para sa inyo sa V81 Radio.
And hello everybody! Magandang hapon sa ating lahat ng mga kababayan kung nandito man kayo sa Metro Manila, sa probinsya, or sa ibang parte ng mundo because we are a global radio. Ang V81 ay may mga followers sa Hong Kong where we have a remote studio and remote server, in California, and we also have followers in UAE, Japan, Taiwan, at kung nasan man kayo, Australia also. So, hello, and ang good news is things are starting to get more exciting, more activities are happening here in the Philippines. Kunyari, sa Metro Manila, katulad ng sa Metro Manila, the traffic, traffic is something that we really dislike. But since we've been in the pandemic, now that you're experiencing traffic little by little, parang feeling mo, uy, may nagkakaroon na ng activity. Pati yung mga parking lots, kasi when you buy your essentials, say in the mall, in the grocery, you'll find that the parking lots are slowly filling up, and that's a good thing, actually. But please remember to stay safe, keep your distance. 6 feet is better. Wear your mask and wear your face shield. So isipin na lang natin na it's some kind of movie and to always just choose to be happy. And speaking of our things getting busier, the LGUs getting busier, alamin natin kung ano pa yung ibang components ng LGUs. And for that, we'd like to call in our co-host. In fact, ako yung co-host kasi siya ho ay talagang veterano and a professional DJ broadcaster. And you'll know at the pagsabi pa lang niya ng hello, malalaman niyo na ho na siya ay isang seasoned broadcasting professional. If we can have at Architect Pakoy Anyag come in already. And there we go. See that? Hi pa lang, di ba?
Na-pressure naman ako.
And look at the earphones. Talagang napaka-pro. And the microphone, I don't even have that. Ako yung napipressure. Parang feeling ko, should I get that microphone? Because we used to be in the studio. And once we're back, you have to come to the studio also. It's not just gonna be me. I know Pakoy is based all the way in Malolos.
That's right.
The historical Malolos. Diba? Correct? Diba? Ano na nga yung bakit na nga siya historical?
Dito yung first, nabuo yung first Republic of the Philippines. And the first Congress was held here. So that was in 𝗕𝗶𝗰 Church in, was it 1890? I'm sorry, my history is getting screwed up. 1899 siguro.
But the church, mahirap i-pronounce para sa akin, such a beautiful church.
Yes, that's
marami
right.
Marami ng movies na sa pelikula over there because it's such a beautiful church. At actually, hindi pa ako nakakapunta. Nakikita ko lang sa on-screen.
Contrary to popular belief, ang karamihan ng nagpupuntaan na tao sa 𝗕𝗫𝗰 Church is hinahanap nila yung pusa sa 10 peso bill, if you remember. That's trivia. There's a legendary cat in the 10 peso bill and they always look for it, but it's to their demise, wala dun.
And nasaan pala yun?
Actually, artists, ano lang yun eh.
Our
Artist,
rendition.
yeah.
Yeah. And also, he wears many hats. He is an architect and is actually a city architect of his hometown, right?
No, I'm not the city architect, but
Yeah, but you're involved pala. Okay.
yes, I am involved in the city architecture office of Malota City.
And something that I just learned while we were in the pre-broadcast, because we do our technical check, is that those massive Christmas trees that are put up by the LGUs, just like I heard Baliwag had put up and lit theirs up. So when I was living in New York, it's a big thing, the Rockwell Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So that involves an architect.
Uh,
I never knew.
if I guess naturally because we're part of the design process, we are called in to design such structures, pero hindi naman necessarily kailangan. Pero at the same time, since I'm available here, medyo ako yung tinap nung ating mayor.
But I feel safer actually knowing that someone license is behind it, because also if you live in North America, everything is licensed. When you run the backhoe, you have to be licensed. If you have to operate the backhoe or anything, what seems to be here na kahit sino lang yung gumagawa there, everything is, because it involves safety of everybody, not just the driver. And another thing that Pakoy does is he has his YouTube show,
Yes, that's right.
which he creates. The content is aired every Thursday night, correct?
That's right. We have a podcast. It's called The Channel, and the Facebook page is called Poste, the source of design and construction in the Philippines, professional design at that. And we have a podcast every Thursday night at 8 p.m. And other than that, I also do video content for the channel. If you visit the channel, you'll see some of the videos I've made. It's all about tips about design, promotion of professional design, and of course architecture.
Yes, and that's a wonderful thing about YouTube, about all these platforms. You have an idea. If you want to know something,
Bring
you
it
just
out,
search.
yeah.
Yes. And before, it's just Google. But of course, YouTube is owned by Google. So there you go. Whether you want to know about a recipe, about architecture, about mental health, anything under the sun is not only Googleable anymore, but also can be searchable in YouTube.
Yeah, actually, anything and everything that you can think of is on YouTube. You have people just staring into the camera for 2 hours, and that generates hits. Ang thing is today, in this day and age, wala nang gusto magbasa eh. So a lot of people say it out in YouTube, read it for them, and describe it for them, and I think I wouldn't say that's a better way to learn, but definitely it gets a message across faster.
Right, it's a good supplement. And there's even a teacher last night. I may not be watching TV anymore. I don't watch television. I always say that. And then I realized that my time is sucked by YouTube, because like everything, like if you want to know something about economics, it's going to be there. About federalism, about anything that suddenly pops in your head, it's in YouTube. And first I got into keto, and then later on after keto, it's all about health, because they keep talking about health, and there's just so many things that you can find out there. Like
actually, speaking of keto, they have so many channels on keto, and even giving you updated weekly schedules on what to eat.
I didn't even know that about the meal plans.
Oh yeah, the meal plans. Some of them have them, and I've seen some channels on YouTube for that, as well as Facebook pages. So, for anyone who wants to get into keto, it's a good time to be into it.
Yeah, in fact, there are apps also, like say for keto or for health, like for exercising, working out, and there are online classes. Like you can take
Yeah,
an
yeah.
online class. Except I can't commit on a particular time, so I just log on, search something, and that's what I do. And even tips on how to jump rope. That's how I
That's
learned
right.
to jump rope during the pandemic.
Let me ask you, how much exercise do you do? Or how much, what kind of
I
exercises do you have?
I jump rope, and I try during the pandemic. It was every day, so I was a bit leaner. I was a bit lean then. I can't say leaner because that means I'm
Mhm.
lean. No, I'm not. So I try 3 times because otherwise I don't feel good. I feel a little not my happy self. And why did you get to ask?
Because I realized from your telling us that you're into keto, I did get the vibe that you're kind of into fitness as well, and also because just about a month ago I found or refound my love for cycling, which is in fact from what you said earlier about the Manila traffic getting too busy nowadays. I think, it's a good time to promote cycling in the city, and no better way to exercise than have a practical reason for it. So
Yeah,
instead of finding time to exercise, just cycle to work,
right.
commute to work by bicycle, and you've put in your exercise for the day.
Yeah, in fact, before, because the family has a place wherein you can do biking, parang mountain biking, pero pamatay talaga. So, para siyang death wall. So, takot ako maging duguan. I'm not athletic that way.
Yeah.
So, I'm not getting into that kasi takot akong sumimplang, nasemplang na ako before. But that's a good idea. In fact, there was an issue before during the pandemic to support people because a lot of people couldn't get to work because there was no public
Yeah,
transportation.
yeah.
And so the proposal was to make a bike lane. And then Mayor Fernando, it was not a mayor, I think it's in Congress now, was saying he did that in Marikina. But now, parang hindi na siya nagagamit. And the same thing in Wuhan, parang we have to, again, that's when city planning works. We have to think ahead when it
Mhm.
comes to planning. Because right now,
Mhm.
they say when they built that in Wuhan, just 5 years down the road, it's not utilized anymore. So parang
Exactly.
we can't be myopic or short-sighted about how they, to just spend money. And that's the great thing about having professionals, architects in the planning. And not
That's
only
right.
that, you're an urban planner also, right?
I'd say amateur. I'm not
Okay.
licensed. I'm not
I'm not
licensed
licensed.
for environmental planning, but I do master planning for small complexes and projects. So I wouldn't say it goes beyond regional planning, but at least in master planning, I'm involved in that.
So since you mentioned about environmental planning, our next guest is really into sustainability. That started out in college. She was even called in and awarded in Malacanang at the tail end of President Arroyo, and then towards the administration of President Aquino. And he's continuing on with that advocacy and
Hmm.
has even, he really walks the talk because they have a resort that's
Yeah.
very environment friendly, and they really make it a point not to be near the shore. So we'll talk soon to Eric Smith right after the break. So here we go. See you, Eric.
Magbabalik ang KPI, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo sa V81 Radio Worldwide. Talagang October to remember dahil hindi din pahuhuli ang ibang Viva OPM artists na sasabak sa kantahan sa Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2 kasama si Papa Gio, Yumi Laksamana, ISID, Solstice, Just Rap, and Cebu. Kaya iset nyo na ang mga kalendaryo nyo tuwing Merkules 7pm California time o Huwebes 10am Pinas time at samahan si Papa Gio para makipagkulitan, tawanan at kantahan sa Home dito yan sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Good news para sa mga kababayan natin abroad. Mapapanood nyo na ang inyong mga paboritong V81 radio shows sa Amazon Fire TV. Simple lang ang gawin. Hanapin lang ang V81 TV app and install. Tiyak na wala kayong mamimiss na episodes na gusto nyo dahil mapapanood nyo na ito anytime and anywhere you want. Gamit ang Amazon Fire TV. Tandaan lang, just install V81 TV app and you're good to go. Another first from V81 Radio Worldwide. Balikan na natin ang KPI, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
And yeah, hello there, everybody. We are back. So as our station break, I mentioned, we are on Amazon Fire TV, and I believe we are the first Pinoy telecast on Amazon Fire TV. And we've always been V81, which I'm a part of, has always been a trailblazer in terms of broadcasting, because when before it was only Sirius Radio, you know, there were subscription radio stations, but V81 has already had an app for some time on both iOS and Android. And of course, if you miss it, that can be on demand. If you miss any of the shows of V81, it can be on. You can watch it on demand, whether on YouTube or Facebook. The radio app on iOS, Android. Now there's Amazon Alexa, Amazon Echo. When you just say Alexa, go to V81, and also on Amazon Fire TV. So where is Pakoy? Because it would be a good exchange to have him around, because we will be talking to an environment advocate. So if we can have Eric Smith, he is the JCI Cebu president, and also he was awarded for Livable Cebu initiative some 8 years ago, I believe, or 10 years ago. So if we can have Eric already to talk about all the projects. Hi, Eric. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Rachele and Pakoy. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Eric.
Yes, and we'd love to hear more about Cebu, because, you know, we've been so cooped up in Manila, and this is the very reason why we do this. We advocate for initiatives that will help other people also move and do something within their capability.
Yeah.
And even before all these, parang kasing siguro, kailan po ba yung Kyoto initiative? So you've been doing also your own initiative already for Livable Cebu. And makikita natin yung picture, he was awarded no less in Malacanang for that initiative. So parang, ikaw ba, Pakoy, nung bata ka, may mga ganyan ka, ano ka na din? Very involved ka na din? Kasi ako hindi eh. Kahit na isko ako.
Wala. wala. Gusto ko lang tumugtog, magpapogi sa girls, tapos wala tayong pangarap na ganun.
So, Miguel, pakita naman natin yung mga slides ng photo ni Eric. Yan. What year was this, Eric?
Well, this was back in September 2014, so 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
I received the certificate of recognition in my capacity as the lead convener then of Youth for Livable Cebu. So what's Youth for Livable Cebu? We're basically the youth arm of the movement for Livable Cebu, which arose during that time in response to the cry for the need for consultation in urban development. So at that time, they wanted to build some structures in the city, flyovers, and as stakeholders in the community, we wanted to get involved. Please consult with us before you do something like that. So at that time as well, I felt that that was a time of apathy among the youth. So I brought in together several of my close friends, and we found that we were on the same page. And we wanted to help make a difference in any way we can, start a Facebook page, and gain as much followers also, so they can also be one with us in the cause for inclusion, for consultation, and creative change in the society.
Biro mo, may napaka-profound na. Bata pa lang siya noon. That was 6 years ago. Meron ng inclusion, change. When, I mean, I'm so into it, but also because of what I've been exposed to. It didn't come organically that when I was in college, and then suddenly I feel that these things have to be changed. Parang walang ganon eh. At that point. So what exactly did you do in Livable Cebu? What is the project?
Well, we had several projects that built on the things we wanted to do. So one of our flagship projects was vertical farming. So we wanted to encourage edible farming in the homes of Cebuanos. So transform, upcycle old Pepsi or Coke bottles, and then hang these on unused walls in their homes to plant, alugbati, alam mo yung mga vegetables. Another one was livability walks, where we wanted our government officials, to take a walk down the street so they would really see on hand, or on foot actually, what needed to be changed and improved in the area. And the other one, which is the strength of one of our co-conveners, Francis Solano, is Trashon. So he upcycled old trash and he made it into fashion pieces, which he still does until today. Yeah.
Like what kind of fashion piece?
Well, either it's stuff that you put on furniture pieces, or it's mga things on your accessories. Even made of plastic, a dress made of plastic. So
yeah. Parang I've seen something on YouTube like that. It was featured in Fashion Week of Japan, and it was quite a spectacle then. That was years ago also. So and if the rags to there's this line of the line of bags that are from scraps of tela, plastic, or
like the Zesto packaging.
The upcycling initiative.
Yeah, that's right.
And even Michael Kors sells eco bag. But the thing is, parang you have to think, do I really need a branded eco bag? So how were you able to advocate for the government officials to walk and experience it on foot?
Well, at that time, we did it on our own. We invited some bloggers to join us. We took basically a 500-meter walk by UP Cebu down to the Handura restaurant. We looked at what needed to be done with the spaghetti wires, the condition of the sidewalks. Then we crafted a letter and we sent it to the mayor. But unfortunately, the mayor never came back to us, though it's part of the law that you're supposed to at least, reply, right? Given 15 days or something. But after a while, like a few months down the road, we see him in the press and he starts walking the street of IT Park. So I hope he read it and he started doing it on his own.
Yeah, precisely. That's how it is. You may not see the change happening overnight, but it does happen. Like, give it tweaks, sometimes even reluctant people, hesitant people to give you an ear. Then later on, they're the ones doing it and also claiming the credit for it. I don't, I don't mind getting the credit as long as it gets done. That's the important thing. And then you move on because of that advocacy.
Yeah, because of that advocacy, I took up masters and things changed, business like that. So my friends, my barkada, they started getting into this organization called JCI. So I started seeing less of them and I asked them, how come? Why are you so busy? And of course, we're doing projects in JCI. Tapos na timing naman, I got heartbroken. So I also needed a place to chill. I needed a new set of friends, mga ganun. So I joined the JCI Mandaue chapter also because of that. One of the main reasons.
And from there, you
Ako,
continued the advocacy.
Yes, I became a part of a bigger network of active citizens. So, of the framework was there, the guiding principles, the values. So we didn't really have to build from scratch, and you became part of a brotherhood with purpose.
puro lalaki kayo
Yeah.
dyan.
Okay, all male.
Oh, male. So, what is the advocacy exactly that you
Yeah.
are?
So JCI actually stands for Junior Chamber International. So it's a global voluntary and volunteer and leadership organization of 200,000 members worldwide. In the Philippines, there are around 250 chapters or local organizations and 8,000 members. So JCI basically looks at creating positive change in the community through sustainable ways and creating or establishing active citizenship among the people in the communities. So with JCI Mandaue, we are one of the oldest chapters in the Visayas, and we're an all-male chapter, and we're also known as to be as the merry men of Mandaue. So we bring fun in the projects that we do.
Bakit fun? Anong klaseng fun naman ang ibig sabihin ng
Ano,
fun?
well, aside from doing projects that are answer naman the needs of our members, most of our members are professionals, business owners. So it gives us we get to chill with people we can talk to about business after work. At the same time, we get to have a few drinks here and there. We have fellowships that are fun. We go on beach trips, mga ganun. So that's the fun part of it too, building connections, creating new businesses, mga ganun.
Ano nangyari sa JCs?
Yeah,
Kasi dati
actually,
may JCs.
that they were called the Philippine JCs. Tapos they renamed it, I think, in 1948 to Junior Chamber International Philippines, JCI Philippines. So it became also more inclusive. It's open to women.
Okay, but I don't see women there.
Well, that's a chapter namin.
Was a decision to be an all-male group sa inyo, or that just happened by chance?
Well, it was really founded by Ariston Cortes in 1964. So they envisioned themselves to be like the premier all-male organization in Mandaue City. So it's a decision talaga of the local chapter who they want to be, what they want
I see.
to.
Is there a female equivalent in Mandaue?
Yeah.
We created a group called 𝗕𝗶𝗰, JCI 𝗕𝗶𝗰.
Galing.
So it's all
Okay.
female.
Bakit kaya nag-iwalay pa, no? And aside from JC Woman Dawe, siguro meron pa rin ibang civic organizations na all female. Like, I don't know if Gabriela is all female. I'm just thinking it may be all female. So you have different types of activities over there. So what undertakings do you have?
These were some of our projects last year and this year. So we had one that's called the Merry Halloween. So we had a Halloween costume party. At the same time, it was a fundraising to introduce also the new set of officers to the chapters. We have our yearly inductions where we induct our new officers. We have speed dating for a cause in February.
Speed dating.
Bakit for
We
a
also-
cause? Ano yung cause
kasi-
ng speed dating?
Fundraising activities to fund yung mga projects namin sa chapter, which include
Okay.
yung mga we have later on we'll be sharing yung mga our flagship projects sa chapter namin where most of our funds go in support. So aside from that, we have training activities, we have sports activities, and then we have national projects like Bags to School, where we give bags to school children in our localities. Yeah, mga ganun.
Okay, so
Health
who do you
insurance.
train? So
Well, we
you
train-
give trainings?
Yeah, we give trainings to our members. So we have JCI trainings that teach them on project management, admin management, how to create impact and achieve in the JCI system, in the JCI organization.
So I suppose you have like mga general membership meetings
Yes,
here in
we have
Manila.
Okay.
Okay.
National board meetings. mga ganun.
So you're still very much active because meron pa isa daycare naman. Is that funded solely by JCI or did you get like sponsors?
Yeah, we got sponsors. It's a partnership, a long-term partnership with the Gwangjong Presbyterian Church in South Korea. So they gave us money, and then we helped them build it in the barangays in Mandaue City. So we've actually finished two na this since 2 years ago, and we're aiming to at least finish 8 in the coming year.
So pwede palang gawin yan for the barangay because the barangays do have daycare centers.
Yeah.
And because we've been guesting different LGUs and some of the barangays, a couple of barangay captains were saying that it was either donated by the vice mayor kasi ang tatay niya ay senador. Pero pwede rin na pala silang mag-approach sa ganyan. So I should connect them to JCI.
And we of course work with the city hall, city council, and the barangay to get approvals, the donation of the lots, mga ganun.
Yeah, may mga donation nga ng lots. Tapos parang sa senador yung lot. And that's Senator Vicente Soto. Kasi anak niya, Vice Mayor ng Quezon City. Yan. Tapos nag-donate sila ng daycare at ng barangay hall. So pwede palang JCI. And JCI is that your headquarters in Quezon City? Because I see a JCI near Roses Avenue.
Roses, Chotoko.
Chotoko, yes, near that. Yeah, very near Capitol, you know.
Yeah.
So aside from that, is there an environment aspect also? Because they're very much into that. And here is another environment advocate, and you know, I give you to exchange your ideas on that. Ang JCI ba?
Yeah, JCI, we have a national project called Think Green. So this year, it's about ice straws. You know, we have to work also with the pandemic. So the thrust this year is to promote the use of rice straws. So it's a stop plastic advocacy. The advocacies for planting trees, mangroves have always been there with JCI in the previous years. So it's also part of the creativity of the local chapters to adopt this program and curate it to what is needed in their localities. Sa amin naman, we are still building that parang competency to create kasi we don't have much members yet. And then Mandaue, aside from the river rehabilitation, we're also looking at the solid waste management to help the LGU, even if it's just the 𝗕𝗍cie component of it. It's still in the works.
Without your help right now, what's the current situation of solid waste in Mandaue?
Yeah, actually, Mandaue is proud that they have this shredding machine. So they do MRF recycling. They close the dump sites. They also have already this Japanese technology that shreds the plastic, and then these are sold to the cement manufacturers.
Yes, that's right.
So our mayor right now is very proud of that as well.
So that's in Mandaue. How about in Malboal? Because you're also very much involved in Malboal, being Halimana, which is environmentally friendly, is in Malboal.
Yeah, Malboal has been focusing on clean and green. Well, that's based from what I've seen. They are also into cleanups, coastal cleanups, regular cleanups. So taking care of the marine environment is their top concern because that's really the rich resource there. They control the carrying capacity as well. So they're very strict on that.
Ang Malboal ba really gets tourists, or it's more of local tourists more than foreign tourists?
They are really, it's really a foreign tourist magnet. So they're known as a 5-star diving destination.
Okay. Sa Halimana, by the way, to our people who are following Eric and Pakoy, Halimana is a resort in Malboal, which is southern part of Cebu.
Yeah.
And it's so heavenly. It's really divine over there. We'll see the pictures and Eric will get to explain it more, and si Pakoy will give insights on his environment background also. So, ito, ang Malboalba is really more shoreline and diving. Is that what the whole area is?
Well, Moalba, if you look at the map, is actually a parang leg ng Cebu. So it's a peninsula. And so most of its coral areas, it's a fringing reef. So when you dive and it's along the mainland, it's actually, you're looking at a coral wall. So that's what makes it also unique. So, aside from the diving destinations, it's also been a hotspot, tourism hotspot for their sardine run. So off
For
Panagsama
what?
Beach,
I'm sorry?
sardines, yung sardine
Oh,
run.
you're like Zamboanga. Zamboanga is a peninsula because we had Mayor 𝗕𝗵𝗁 last week. Zamboanga is a peninsula, very proud of their red coral reef, and which makes their sand pink. They have a lot of foreign tourists also. Plus, hindi, sardines din sila. Maybe because of the same type of characteristic. That's why
Could be,
naging-
yeah. And maybe the absence of predators normally that would eat them, so they're protected, so they thrive there. There are rare sightings nga rin of mga whale sharks, and actually in front of Moalboal, in that narrow strait between Cebu and Negros, is a protected seascape. So it's known as Tanyan Strait. So it's really a home for dolphins and whales.
Okay, we'll see it in the next slide how magnificent it is over there. And that's what you're saying. So please explain.
This is the 𝗕𝗁 property. This is the beach, the coastline. We're at 2-hectare property. Tapos, it's actually, 𝗕𝗁 is actually a birthing of my mom's vision. Kasi my mom, she worked with the government, with the environment for a long time. And her work in the environment sector was to create marine protected areas. So the coastal environment, the sea is really close to her heart. And when she built 𝗕𝗁, it was first for retirement, but then this property needed to be upkept. Diba? There's a high upkeep, so better make it a business na lang. So we're working on her vision talaga, which is to become a tranquil retreat, to balance your mind and body in a calm environment. Tapos, at the same time, take in the magical effects of the sea, of nature, of sustainable coastal living.
It's a wonderful word. It's very appropriate. It's magical because, like, for example, the aerial view of the swimming pool, I never saw it that way. It's magnificent. I've swum in that. It's a lap pool. And ang maganda, syempre pag nagsiswimming ka, medyo papasok yung tubig sa may inom mo, di ba? Salt water siya. So, okay lang na mainom mo.
Yeah, I know we were talking about that kanina. Is it right? You pump in the water. Is that every day? Or di naman?
Hindi naman. At least once a week kasi we treat naman din yung water. We turn on the filters every day para it maintains the clarity and the cleanliness. But water kasi, fresh water is expensive. Hindi umaabot yung local water supply. Kaya many of the resorts have to have it brought in by truck. So we pay by the cubic meter. So important talaga sa resort namin is the sustainable coastal living. We have being environmentally friendly not only is good for the earth, but it actually saves you mga gastusin din.
You spoke of yung scarcity of water. Isn't it right? Meron kayo dyang rainwater collector?
Yes. Later on, you'll see the pictures. We, aside from an LGU requirement, we use the rainwater catchment. We designed the roofs na so that the water trickles down to a cistern, and then it gets filtered. And we use that for the flushing, the toilet flushing, the gray water, as well as the gardens, to water the gardens. Yeah, one of the reasons our gardens are very lush.
Yes,
but it's not potable.
Not potable.
But it can go through a treatment if ever, and that can become potable. But is that treatment facility very expensive? Like, cost a whole new resort? Is that how it is, Pakoy?
Not necessarily. I have seen some systems It's similar to what you'd find in a filtered water setup.
Okay.
UV
And
and reverse
Yeah.
osmosis.
yeah.
Yung sa
So
mga water stations.
yeah, and they come now in very compact ways also. Like what I have
Yeah.
in my unit, it's more compact. I don't have to have the full cylinder anymore. And then we're looking at photos here of how serene and, as Eric had termed it, magical. The lush greenery that we saw a while ago is the facade of the house. The house is like Airbnb. No, just B&B, bed and breakfast, and they have wonderful food. Pero hindi lang yan yung structure that they can rent, right? That's not the only accommodation.
We have villas na rin and other buildings, other houses that have different designs as well.
Ito, very interesting yan. I'd like to do that. Pero hindi ako ganyan. Hindi ako ganyan. Ano lang ako. As my friend will say, sabihin ko lagi, please, hanggang dito lang sa balikat ko ang picture. Sabi niya, ito kasi laging pang ID picture lang ang gusto eh. So, hindi makikita yung sunset. And it's a beautiful picture. I know where that is. I've had a massage there.
Yeah,
And,
it's one of
then,
our favorite spots. So
yes.
it's called the inspiration point. It's like an outcrop. So maganda, you can see the view of the public beach, the area, and then ang ganda ng sunset dyan to chill, and then the wind is the fresh wind.
Yeah, even in the morning, the sunrise
Yeah.
too. Before you get to sunbathe. But I never saw the public beach. It's all it's just me there, and of course the family. So I never. And look at this, nice.
Yeah.
Hanggang saan yung property over there?
Well, in this picture, may parang pangalawang boat na maliit, yung yellow, hanggang dyan.
Okay, let me wear my glasses. Nasaan yung maliit na boat?
Yung may bangka dyan na puti, harap
Ayun,
niya may
yung
maliit
puti.
na yellow.
Ayun. Okay. And
Pero
then,
ano siya, no? It's a cliff, medyo cliff property. Hindi siya beach talaga.
Yes. Actually, one of the nice trivia din sa amin is kasi yung sand is not permanent. So, it comes in 6 months of the year and 6 months wala. Kasi because of the habagat at amihan. So, that's also one thing of sustainable coastal living is you just leave nature as for what it is. You don't force it, di ba?
Yeah, so that's the whole contention about the sand in Manila Bay, the artificial sand. Nawawala na siya.
Yep.
So we're not getting a lot of rains now, but once it rains, because it did rain last week. Oh, here, that's beautiful. This is the aerial shot.
How do people get down to the water from there?
Below the tree on the right, that's actually a nice tree that hangs. Tapos you can swim nga sa shade. May steps doon. So bababa sila doon.
And is it safe to jump from where the people are? That platform?
No. It doesn't get that deep. Tsaka it's super rocky.
But they used to have a property in Tali, and there was a jump off cliff there, and then you just get into the water. But I never did that. Kasi aside from takot ako maging duguan, baka mauntog ako, hindi ako magaling. I mean, I can swim, pero I cannot really jump far away. And this is interesting.
Yeah. So, di ba, fringing reef. So, may wall yung Malboal. Ito, we put also a floating raft there for protection na rin sa fishermen or sa mga swimmers. It also becomes a natural home for mga fish. So, in Bisaya, actually may trivia din. Bisaya ito, tawag nito kantilado. Pero do you know why it's called kantil?
No.
Because you can't tell how deep it goes.
Because you can't?
You can't tell how deep it goes.
Corny. Okay.
Medyo joke lang.
And look, that's underwater, is that right?
Yeah. So that's the photo of that area. It's very rich in hard, soft corals, different fishes. May resident
Yeah.
turtle dyan.
Yeah,
Wow.
snorkeling. The raft is, yan na yung under the raft. That's the thing, under the raft, right?
Yes, that area. Just
That area. And how deep is it already?
it goes as deep as 30 feet.
Yeah,
Parang
because
ledge daw siya eh.
yeah, we need to kayak to get to the raft. So everybody, it's such a nice place. And then in the next photo, makikita pa natin. Look at that.
So, mga ski
Yan.
amenities namin, hindi siya motorized. So, we offer kayaks, we offer stand-up paddles, clear kayaks. One of the nice things din namin is you just pay for the room, tapos all of these are free na. Unlike other places na babayaran mo pa yung per hour, di ba?
Yeah.
So, but that's
And
also
also-
the advantage. Now, we want people who don't know how to swim to, walang hindrance ng bayad, they can swim for free.
And as a
Yeah.
peninsula, I take it the waves are never that strong. Am I right?
Yeah, only pag bagyo, may bagyo.
Of course. And so talagang safe siya for swimming. Safe siya for water activities.
Yeah.
Water sports. Yeah.
Yes. Ayan. Yan, hindi ko pa yan nasakyan. Bago yan. Yes. Tapos, ngayon pa, yan, hindi ko rin, yan, pwede ko yan gawin. Medyo, silhouette.
Mga sea hammock.
Yes. And tagu pa sa water yung ibang parts of the body against the sun. Beautiful sunset. I should do that. I should make my friend go with me back there. So we can do all these photo ops, and that's the raft.
Yeah, the floating raft.
Yeah, and you can jump off and do your
can jump off.
snorkeling.
Yeah.
At that point, how deep is that?
I would say it's around 10 to 12 feet.
Okay.
The deepest.
Malinaw pa yung corals niya, oh.
Oo.
Ang linaw
linaw.
talaga. Yeah. And that's the water.
Water catchment
what do you call it?
Water, rain catchment.
Rainwater, yeah.
Rainwater catchment system.
And you said that the LGU mandates you, makes you have it. Does it
Like
have
the
to be...
office of the OBO,
This-
yung Office of Building Official, requires na kasi when you get a building permit, na part of your plan is you have a septic tank, you have a rainwater catchment system.
How
Is it because-
strict are they?
Well, so far in Moalboal, they're strict. Even in Cebu City, they're also very strict.
Kasi I do know of several other LGUs who have that as an ordinance already.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is, ordinance lang, hindi necessarily nasusunod.
Yeah.
Kaya tinatanong ko how strict they are. And because sa ngayon, I guess it's strongly needed in especially in a place like yours where water is scarce.
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
And
Yeah,
then...
so yung cabanas, tapos yan yung garden at night.
Yeah, wala pa yan. First floor pa lang. And it looked like parang where I would have barbecue, and then his sister got married there. It looks so fabulous with all the lights also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ngayon, ano na yung pwedeng gawin sa taas, sa second floor?
That's actually our massage hut. So people who have massages, they have it done there. Or if they want it in other cabanas, pwede din naman.
Oo,
But
like the
mainly-
beachfront. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I used to have the massage.
Yeah.
And then until what time can they be there?
Well,
Is there a protocol?
kung in-house guest ka naman, wala naman. We just tell you that don't sleep there overnight for security purposes. But for day users, hanggang 5 p.m. talaga lang.
Is smoking allowed? Not that I smoke, but
Well,
just
in
for the
the
benefit of other people. This is inside the house.
wala sa loob ng mga rooms at bahay. So if you smoke, dapat sa garden area, away from the guests, of course.
Pero pwede near the shore? Near the
Advised
beach?
not to, for as long as you're away from guests and you dispose of your butts properly.
Okay.
Saan i-dispose? Meron namang mga basurahan scattered around. No?
Yeah. Yung main
I like-
house, so my mom really it's part of her vision na rin na yung uniquely Filipino. So using
Yeah.
wood and yung bahay na bato treatment. Itong room sa main house, she wants it na kasi you can open it up for natural ventilation. So these windows aren't made of kapis but fiberglass imitation. Ginawa niya
Okay.
yung cousin ko si Dean. So he did this for us.
I didn't know that.
Yung ventanillas on top, are they operable or are they fixed na?
Operable. You can open it. Mm-mm.
And those are the fiberglass that you were saying? I didn't even know that they were. I
Yeah,
thought it was wood talaga. Yeah.
Yung kapis shells, hindi siya kapis, but fiberglass siya.
And for what reason? So it's more sturdy? It
It's
lasts
cheaper.
longer?
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Cheaper!
Than kapis.
Actually, Rachel, if you notice this photo, I was asking about if you notice the window, there's another parang window on top.
Pakita, balik natin, Miguel, dun so, yan, window on top. Kala ko isa lang yun ang buo.
Meron pang siya isa. So, what that means is, pwedeng closed yung windows sila and at night, ventilation can still pass through.
Yung parang gano'n.
Yeah.
Akala ko naman pag gano'n, parang siyang pinto, pero window
That's
siya.
yung sa baba.
Ay, sa baba lang. So, separate siya. Ang galing ni Pakoy. Siya pa naman. Arkitekto siya. Alam niya
So,
kagad
I take it you value natural ventilation, hindi kayo puro
And natural
artificial.
Oo,
Yeah.
natural light. So, these main house, they have their own verandas that outlook. Ginawa din ng mom ko na high ceiling kasi tsaka yung CRs is also almost equivalent to a single bedroom. It's really big.
Yeah, really big, yes.
The sense of space that you have when you're in the room is carried on in the gardens as well. So, ito naman yung pool namin, itong main pool. So, tatlo ito, yung adult pool, tsaka yung kiddie pool, tapos yung parang jacuzzi type. Yeah, so
Actually, from the scale of the people, malaki siya.
it's around 300 square meters.
Oh, it's pretty big.
And then, when you swim across for a lap, ilang meters yon?
I'm not sure. I forget.
Tapos may slide pa.
Oo.
Iniisip ko kung may slide na noon.
Sa hapon,
Yeah, so-
because of the salt water, it becomes warm. So it's a
so
therapeutic effect talaga when you swim there.
Okay. So good, yes. And, interesting.
Yeah.
Solar
Ito naman, we invested in solar energy. So we invested in a net metering solar setup na 35 kilowatts. And we partnered with Siga Solar, a local company that partnered with Japanese materials as well as land bank. So these days kasi it's easier now to get financing. Unlike before, maybe 5-10 years ago, na mahal masyado yung entrance mo sa solar energy. So because of that, the government, there's a law that promotes green energy. So we took advantage of that. Land Bank gave us a loan. And that's why we have it now. So by last July, we had the net metering set up na.
Oh, before ang solar panels, you mentioned 35 kilowatts yan, diba? So kung by 5 years ago, that would have been 3.5 million investment. Kasi back then, nasa 100,000 per kilowatt ang investment mo.
Wow.
So, ang laki ng investment over yung initial savings. Kaya buti ang local government tsaka banks ngayon very receptive na.
Yeah, that's true. Kasi yung nagiging collateral niyan is yung panels.
Really? Parang kotse. Parang chattel mortgage.
So 20 years, yung 25 years, the lifespan ng panels, tapos the loan period is like 7 years. So at least you have the rest, parang wala nang bayad, so you save up the long term.
Yeah, but that means also if there's default, they can take that off from your roof in something that they can sell.
Technically,
just like a car, because if that's the way that it's a movable asset, so they can take it off. But how It's such a hassle though, but I'm so happy to hear that because I'm part of this advocacy before that passed into law of using movable assets as collateral, not just cars, not just equipment, just like
Yes.
the tractor, because tractors, of course, paano mo mababayaran ng ilang milyon. But even the solar panels, and
Uh,
Are you
kudos to land bank.
are you who's your energy provider in Mandaue
in Mandaue or Malboal.
or Moalbal?
Sorry.
Moalbal.
It's a Sebeco. It's a cooperative. So
I
Cebu.
see. And
That's the
Yeah.
yung balik nila sa'yo, maganda naman. I mean, kasi from what I hear, I think it's 0.1 or 0.01 per kilowatt. Ang
Mm-mm.
0.01 pesos per kilowatt ang return nila.
I'm not quite, don't quite remember, pero hindi siya cents yung balik. So I think
Ganon.
oo. I think it's a peso or 2 pesos.
Wow.
It's it's
So
big
it's
enough.
at least sa inyo, I think if I'm not mistaken, parang Meralco ata and other cooperatives here in Luzon, nasa cents pa rin lang.
Okay.
So parang
Yeah.
the
Not worth
incentive
it.
to invest is not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you spend so much, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
only, unless of course, I mean, you're a billionaire, and then you really care about the environment. So, yeah, that would makes so much.
Kasi
great.
the difficult thing about solar panels then is at current you only use about you only get to maximize roughly about 30% of the day of its tawag
Usability.
yeah, it's usability. Kasi the other 60% is more or less, or rather 70% is more or less hindi naman lost na pero variable na kasi. So ang efficient use niya is 30% lang. So definitely if you translate that into peso, medyo parang kung walang incentive na ibibigay sa'yo, why would you invest, diba?
Yeah. That's true.
In their case, ang ganda ng incentive.
Anong mapapaandar niya na appliance aside from
Well,
electric fan, I suppose?
Well, it's not a direct so net metering siya. So more of like it provides to the main power line, tapos you just save with the difference what is produced and what you use from the power grid. So unlike battery setup, hindi siya battery setup, so hindi siya direct na nagpa-power sa mga appliances, ganun. But equivalently, when we computed the wattage, the solar panels, the 35 watts, can cover the main house, the adjacent 3 bungalows, pati yung swimming pool.
Yung
Motor
pump.
niya. Yung
Yeah,
pump.
yeah. Actually, malakas sa kuryente yun.
Yes.
Alin yung swimming pool?
Yung pump,
Oo,
yeah.
Ay, yung pump, yes. And then what do you plant there now? Is that something edible?
Yeah, so this is part also of the vision of homegrown, yung you be sustainable in your backyard. So we did some backyard gardening, farming. So we plant mga alugbati, mga oregano, things that we use in the kitchen, papaya. We even grew grapes there.
Oh, really? And how was that?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's still alive, but one time we did.
Isn't it too hot? I can't imagine grapes over there. But in CDO, they have the first farm that is growing oolong tea, and that's really from China. So we will have them on the show also, because these are the things that parang we take for granted, but it actually matters because it's giving livelihood to other people, making our lands more things to grow with.
Yeah.
Land natin. And then the next, you had the cooperative collaboration. Who is that?
Yeah. So basically, we're answering the call of DOT, kasi DOT released a travel survey report last May that guided mga enterprises on what to expect sa new normal. So in the report, sabi nila may 4 pillars of the new normal. Yung isa is elevated safety. So as we know, that's the primary thing that travelers are looking for. Second is yung agile innovation. So innovating in the way you do business, for both government and private sector. Tapos may digital transformation, so going contactless. And finally, they said collaborative governance, which is working with your local government, working with the government to approach the new normal na you're both sustainable. So ang nangyari dito, we donated to the 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗰 Tourism Office. This is the tourism officer, 𝗕𝗵𝗶𝗁 Alderete. We donated mga health and safety signs that he can use sa office niya. Kasi ang nangyayari ngayon is the guests who go to 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗰, they're required to go through the tourism office to get a tourism pass. It's their way of contact tracing, as well as making sure the carrying capacity of 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗰 is followed. So they follow 300 guests lang bawat araw that they allow for day use.
Of all of 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗰.
Yeah, of all of 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗰. Kasi hindi pa lahat ng resorts
population
are
of 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗰. Okay.
I don't know. Pero it's a fourth-class municipality. And normally it would be booming with tourists. So ngayon, as a way of controlling na rin, di ba, the contact tracing, the spread of whatever, that's their patakaran doon.
Actually, COVID taught us a lot, as well as Boracay taught us a lot. Yung sa carrying capacity ng tourism, ang laki ng ginawa sa atin.
And that went on for so long. Yes.
Yeah.
What is this?
This picture naman, since si Sir Rolly, ito naman yung babae, the one in front is Provincial Tourism Officer Lester Ibanez. So they came on behalf of the Governor Gwen Garcia, kasi strict din yung governor on the enforcement of protocols. Before resorts can open, you're supposed to pass their checklist, and you're supposed to get a certificate that you can operate. So ayan, they were there and they checked our facilities if we were doing the requirements sa COVID safety. At pumasa naman kami. So we got a DOT certificate. We also got a provincial tourism certificate.
Yeah, and speaking of DOT, so hindi na makakarating si 𝗕𝗁𝗃 Art because it's the other guest is 𝗕𝗁𝗃 Art, but with all the things opening, like Baguio is in pilot to open itself, its city to Region 1, and then Boracay nationwide is going to be open to tourists, local tourists, but nationwide, unlike ang Baguio only for Region 1. And Boracay, that's nationwide, but you have to have your tests already. Bring it with you when you go there. Parang ang hirap, no? Zamboanga is also open to, kasi guest last week, si Mayor, open to the neighboring areas. So ano naman ang ruling sa 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗰?
The whole island of Cebu is 𝗕𝗫𝗁𝗃 naman. So they are allowing guests na from within the island for as long as they have to pass by the 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗰 Tourism Office to get a pass. The governor is very she really wants to balance kasi business activity, the tourism economic activity with COVID safety.
Yeah, because hardest hit is the first thing that happened was really tourism, and of course the snowballing or the domino effect to other businesses, such as pag walang tourists, walang kakain sa restaurant. So that's wonderful. And have you been, and now it's fully booked, even, you were saying.
Well, fully booked to the allowable capacity. So 75% of the rooms. We have 26 rooms. So bumabawi sa weekends.
So ang galing. That's really good. That's already a wonderful news that things are bouncing back. Even here, I was saying that traffic starting to be felt already.
Pero pre-COVID, how was it? I mean, on a monthly basis, would you be at when we were still at full capacity? Would you have 100% booking, or more or less ilan ang ano nyo?
Well, what do you call that? The occupancy rate was around like 70% on our peak, and COVID period we were down to 0 for the 5 months.
Everyone naman
Everyone talaga.
Yes, and even for hotels, 70% occupancy rate is very good already. Of course, pag ano lang, season, like their special occasions,
Yeah.
Christmas, then
Yeah.
really there's,
Yeah.
yeah, all
It was also
right.
tough. Yeah, COVID hit you in the good months, yung Holy Week, alam mo yun,
Yes,
yung
yes.
summer.
That's right.
That's why,
Yeah. So everyone's really, oh, did they give you incentives or some kind of financial assistance? Because when we spoke with Ilocos was our guest in July, the tourism office of the LGU helped the restaurants and other businesses involved in tourism to have some kind of alternative livelihood. Sa inyo, may
Well,
ganun ba initiative?
sa amin, wala from the national agencies and from the local, but more of soft, parang hindi siya financial. We were able to take advantage of the SSS, yung ayuda. We were able to give naman that to the staff.
Good.
So at least from
Ah.
that.
Yes, yes. And now
So
they're
hindi
back.
shoulder that. Yeah.
They're back, but we're still enforcing the shortened work week kasi it's still not the financial operation is not enough yet to cover for a full blown. It's also not advised
Yes.
a full blown.
But they live there. Somewhere
They live in
there
the area naman.
So
Yeah.
how do to keep the safety, because you don't know if they interact with someone exposed. That's the hard part.
Yes.
Yeah. And any other environment or architectural insights that our architect can
I was actually
also share?
wondering, did you have your resort planned? Kasi ang ganda ng arrange nung setting nung especially the pool and how you set up the cliff.
Well, actually, it's really my mom's brainchild. She worked with an architect on that to create the plans for the building permits, ganun, and we had to apply for an ECC. We have an ECC with DNR, so it's more of she feels where is the best place, as long as you follow the easement. Kasi laws there for environmental protection are stricter because of the Tanyon Strait. It's a protected seascape, so yung DNR is really on the lookout if you are following the 20-meter easement from the highest tide, no onshore development. Yeah, so we made sure to really follow that.
And little.
And
Yes,
sorry. I applaud yung 𝗕𝗶𝗶𝗰 government for really enforcing it. Kasi in a lot of coastal areas in the Philippines, ang daming nagsiset up na concrete riprap or something, and like you said earlier, it's good to just leave it be. Let nature take its course. Right?
Yes. And his mom is really staunch about that. First, just a brief background. Becky Smith, his mom, Tita Becky, headed TLRC, which is now TRC. It's Technological Livelihood Research Center. And then she was tapped several times over. Kaya idol ko yung ganyan. Parang feeling ko, dapat ganyan din ako pag, as I grow, as I become more, as I become older. I was trying to avoid the word, but she was still very much in demand. They didn't want to let her go. USAID would tap her for marine sustainability projects. So she's very staunch about that, teaching the fishermen to fish properly, and built a whole program on how to transfer that knowledge to the fishermen on how to make sure the fish are not dying. Hindi kayo mag-fish tapos mamamatay naman yung ibang fish. So when yes, and then that's why that came to mind, because Pakoy mentioned the maganda kasi you mentioned something about sustainability a while ago na hina-maintain, because the mom is really like that. Talagang ever since, even before TLRC, I think she went on a mission to
UN.
Even but wait a minute, even the dad was the eclarm head. So they're really they're fish friends talaga. So aquarium, marine, sustainability. Yun talaga ang kanilang passion. And they walk the talk.
Yeah.
in every way that they can, because they had Tally Beach also. They had a property in Tally Beach, and they pass that kind of passion to other people. So, yan yung maganda. Parang in what we always say in KPI is we want to feature those types of initiatives. And then later on, hingi tayo ng mga photos kay Pakoy on what he does, because he's also advocating and propagating environment preservation. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there. And everyone, as we go back to the new normal, hindi naman tayo makakapag-travel kaagad overseas. And two, if we can afford to travel, let's travel first locally. And it's when we spend, the money goes around, and so we help each other. And that's the way to bring back the economy out.
That's right.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Eric, and have a
Thank you,
wonderful.
Rachel and Pakoy.
And
Thank you.
thank you. Everyone, please visit Halimana. It has a Facebook page. It's Halimana Coastal Gardens. It also has a website, correct?
Halimana.com.
Halimana.com. And it's affordable considering the type of experience that you'll have. Although hindi ko alam kung saan yung diving, because that's why I want to bring my girlfriend there, because she dives.
Yeah.
Saan siya kukuha? Hindi naman niya dadalhin yung diving gear niya.
There are diving places in the other part of Malboal, so
Okay.
you have to take it there. So we outsource it na lang.
Okay. And you help them do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Ako naman, with that, do you have fishing tours in that area, like sports fishing?
So far, wala pa. It hasn't been much of a developed parang sporting activity
like
yet.
angling, yeah.
Yeah, wala pa
But-
masyado.
But as a sport fishing, like those I see online, because my father-in-law used to fish there, just wait around, and it's
Yeah.
such a joy for him already. Pero yung sports, kasi may kilala kami na sports fishing ang ginagawa, would go abroad pa talaga to
Yeah.
do
Serious
Why?
sport.
various
It is,
sports.
it
Do you
is.
do that? Do you do that, Pakoy?
Yes, I not super serious, but I do enjoy fishing in the sea.
I would love the
More than
family.
fresh water, yeah.
The thrill of reeling. Is
No,
there.
it's not the thrill of reeling.
Really?
It's a thrill of the bite. Once
yeah.
you have it, after waiting for a long
Of course.
time, then
Yeah.
you get a bite. Parang wow, it's exhilarating. That's you read it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because that happened to his sister. Parang she got so excited that it was getting heavy. Yung pala hindi. Okay. So, thank you very much for your time and for
Thank you
taking
also.
us through each one of the photos, and we encourage everybody to have that experience later on, because now hindi pa pwede, no? Hindi pa
Well,
pwede.
there are flights naman ata from Manila to Cebu twice a day already.
Yeah.
Pero,
Pero mag-quarantine ka
you have to
muna
go to
pagdating mo.
Oo.
Yeah,
Tama.
yeah. So unlike in Boracay, they're opening it already, but you have to have the swab test done
Yeah.
already. Parang babakasyon na lang yung dami pang kailangan. Okay. Salamat.
Thank you again.
Okay. Yes,
Thank you,
have
thank
a
you.
good weekend.
You too.
Okay.
Take care.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
You too. Stay
Bye.
safe. And Pakoy and I will be back next week. Thank you very much, Pakoy. It was
Thank you very much,
wonderful.
Rachel.
Yeah, the insights I get about, architect has to be part of the whole city planning.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
just-
definitely.
Yeah. And it's like, because I have a designer friend naman, na even when you're building a house, you might as well get not only the architect, but also the designer, so that
Yeah.
structurally, hindi mo na siya
They go
disturb
hand
you.
in hand kasi when you if your architect is ready, or rather if your architecture is ready for the design, mas harmonious yung execution niya, rather than like what we say, the slogan of our organization is arkitekto sigurado. So it's not really for the aesthetic only, but more of to avoid problems along the way. So
Yes.
if there's a designer on board, at least the designer can indicate what he or she needs in the project. That by design, the architect can prepare the canvas, so to speak.
Oh, see, I'm always just interested in listening to different fields of expertise, and I find it very insightful, enriching. So next week
Yes,
we hope to find out more about Malolos, where you are from, the historical
definitely.
Malolos. Yes, and the city. We hope that the mayor can also join us because
Yeah.
dati ay tumakbo ka na konsehal, di ba?
Yes,
Tama ba?
councilor of the city of Malolos. Last
Yes.
elections lang.
Last election. That's last year ba?
2019 19 elections.
Oh, wow. Katatapos mo lang pala magkampanya. Okay. Ulitin natin sa 2022. I-boost ka namin.
Tignan natin,
2022, di
tignan
ba?
natin.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right. So we'll be talking again next week, and we are arranging for Baguio Mayor because they're opening. They have opened, and let's find out that Malolos is doing also, because these are the places we want to cover, places that are not usually covered or read in the news.
That's right.
That's why. Yes. All right. And Pakoy, please say again your poste content online.
Yeah, please. If you'd like to know more about the professional design industry in the Philippines and construction as well, subscribe to the Poste channel as well as the Poste page. You'll find us online. Just search for @Poste Pilipinas. And also, we have a podcast every Thursday at 8 where we feature whether architects or other designers or people who have a significance in design. So we feature them every Thursday, and we have interesting topics, interesting discussions for our listeners.
And with that, thank you very much. So we'll see you again next week, okay? Para marinig pa namin more about, that we can learn much more
Yep.
about our surroundings. All right, everybody, please stay safe. Have a good weekend and be healthy. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ano na nga ba ang nangyayari sa Pinas? May pagbabago ba? Umuunlad ba tayo? Kausapin natin ang iba't ibang namumuno sa mga lokal na pamahalaan at national agencies na sumusuporta sa mga proyekto para sa kaunlaran. Libutin natin ang iba't ibang lugar sa Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao para malaman ang mga pagbabago at mga bagong destinasyon. Kilalanin kung sino-sino ang mga nasa LGU. Ano ba ang impact ng LGU sa araw-araw nating pamumuhay? Learn more about your city dito sa 𝗕𝗵𝗁, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo. 𝗕𝗵𝗁, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo. Samahan si Rachele Bonus at Ral Santos tuwing Sabado, 1:00 ng hapon, Philippine Time. 𝗕𝗵𝗁, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo. 𝗕𝗵𝗁, Kaunlaran at Pagbabago para sa inyo. Dito lang yan para sa inyo sa V81 Radio. Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy.